Could you have anticipated your presenter journey going the way that it has?
What I'm not going to do is cry. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, do me long, do me long, do me long.
Here's the beautiful Candice, guys. It's gonna be a nice show.
Remember, getting shot by us. But you know what, right, Johnny, we always give you the best of fun, the best of trainers. Come on! It's a Pussy special! I love presenters and the ones who don't often get an opportunity. Like it's so heartbreaking. So one thing I want to start doing also is have the emerging artist segment kind of thing where I invite a guest presenter, but someone you've never seen before.
Are you in a race with Candace? Train by the best to be the best. Woo! Hey everybody!
It's gonna be an explosive one.
Into it and right! Into it and wild! We got no TV!
There we go, and with that said, we do have a slick dab, so you better check it out. You better check it out. We a Wednesday and Friday team, believe it?
Yeah, I don't know what to say. She said it. Put down. Yeah.
I don't think I had the tiniest vision of what would emerge and what would unfold in my presenter journey, especially because I had no dreams of being one. I can't say I fell into it because part of it did become very intentional, but if you are aware of my journey, I started off as an actress from a theatre space. I'd been auditioning for TV roles, advertisement, when I this, when I that, and it just wasn't happening. And then the YoTV opportunity fell into my lap, and I honored the moment. And it's a true testimony. When God can trust you with little, He'll definitely trust you with much. And I'm living in the much. So no, I didn't know that I would be hosting the shows that I host, the panels, the expos, the award ceremonies. It's unbelievable, unbelievable. You already know what time it is. It is another edition of the 5-Minute Call, and this time around we have something super exciting in store. It's something you guys have asked for. It's questions that you guys have sent through to my DMs, tweeted me about, emailed me about, and you have beckoned and I have listened. We're talking about all things presenting, but of course I have to give my due gratitude and my thanks to all of you guys who continue to show this home so much love. Thank you to the subscribers, to those who commented, to those who watched the previous videos as we embark on this new journey of season 2. I love you guys. I am, because you guys continue to give me so much affirmation, but also honoring the call of being responsible to the next generation of phenomenal young artists. The 5-Minute Call, Mikasa, Sugasa, my home, your home. Let's get started.
These are the moments, only got one life. This is your moment, whether wrong or right. You're your own enemy, your own enemy, your own enemy. Yeah. When I fall, I keep running. Feel the pain, but I love it. Yeah.
You know I'm built for it. You ain't gotta ask twice.
Is there anything I would change? No. We're getting into TV presenting. You guys have asked me, Candace, how do I become a TV presenter? Candace, what qualities, what characteristics, what skills, talents are needed in order for me to step into this world of entertainment as a host? It's my dream, it's my passion, I'm curious about it, and I just felt, because you guys have asked, then let me answer the necessary questions. And let's start off first and foremost with, how did I become a TV host?
The actress, the presenter, they always known that this is what you wanted to do.
You know, I've always been an entertainer, and they actually know that from a very young age. It started with little impersonations. Like, I would stand on, and we've got this little platform in our lounge, and I would use it as a stage. The year is 2016. I have gone to several auditions. I'm struggling to find my footing as an actress, as a performer. I come from a theatre space, but that what I hoped would be a seamless transition into TV was proving to be really, really difficult. And one of my very good friends that passed on in 2015, Kamu Vilagazi, she told me, listen, dog, you have to audition. Crazy's looking for some presenters. You have to go for it. And I remember they'd approached her at Wits, The Matrix. If you know Wits and you know The Matrix, there is that one table at the corner. It was almost like the cool kids corner. I didn't really consider myself much of a cool kid, but she certainly was. I think if she was still here to tell the tales of all that she embodied, she'd be one of the greatest content creators and influencers. And I draw so much inspiration from how she pushed me into the space. And I haven't publicly said that, but I'm saying it today. And you know, it's been a tough couple of years without her. But man, she told me, dog, bro, you have to audition. She had this husky voice, like, you have to audition. And I was like, but you know, I really consider myself to be more of an actress. I've never really envisioned myself a TV presenter. 2015, she passes away, and the same day that she passed was my very first day on YoTV as a guest. I'd just come back from the National Arts Festival in Grahamstown, and we put on a performance, really, really awesome, with Paul Crow. And we came back, went to YoTV, we had an appearance, had a performance. Fast forward a year later, I'm a TV host on YoTV. And you know, God works in really massive ways, but again, like I said, I'd struggled to find my footing, and my agent was like, listen, YoTV is looking for TV presenters. You should probably give it a go. And it's also just another reminder that where you can. You know, I think at the time, I felt like, you know, I'm turning 21. No, I'm 21, I'm turning 22 soon. And the cutoff age for YoTV was 21, so I just hit the cutoff mark. And I was like, oh no, but I really want to be this big time, you know, actress. And I had this idea of what I had envisioned for my career at the time and the age that I was at. And God was like, no, no, no. You're just in the right position. Just step into it. Everything else will unfold as it rightfully should. And truly, that happened. I auditioned for Crazy, I didn't get it. And let me tell you why. And this is also just a reminder for many of you that authenticity will always win. As I mentioned, I struggled to find who I was, particularly as a TV host, and I was so busy emulating what already existed. And having spoken to one of the producers, years later, they mentioned why they didn't cast me as a Crazy presenter, and then shortly after that for Shizness. And I thought, I embodied all this confidence or whatever, but it was a false version because it was premised on, and that identity was created around the molds that were accepted but that already existed. And they were like, you're giving too much, and I love you, sis, you're giving too much of Denise Zimba. So it's bad enough that many people said I already look like Denise, but they were like, your quirkiness and your playfulness is giving too much Denise Zimba. We want, for Shizness, we want more muesli. And I think I felt quite discouraged in the moment, firstly because I was so convinced that I was so me that the comparison just kind of felt unfair in the time, but the uncanny resemblance that already existed, people couldn't see past, but I didn't know who I was, and I didn't know how to present myself as a presenter, and I didn't get the job. I think, let me also just say, I walked into the audition, and the first 5 minutes consisted of a conversation about my sisters. So it's like, oh my gosh, how's Bunga doing? Oh, how's Rafula doing? Because the producers knew them personally. So it's just like, I'm here as myself, and I'm here to audition as Candice Mudisele, not as my sisters. If you guys could give me the opportunity to be me, that would be great. So there were so many opposing factors, and it's not to say that that was the core reason why I didn't get it. The reason why I wasn't cast in those, or why I didn't get those jobs, is they weren't meant for me, and I realized in hindsight why, and it was so amazing because the right opportunity found me ready, ripe, and relevant. And but also, I didn't know who I was. And many people, again, like I said, they make the mistake of going, I look up to this presenter and I'm going to then sound like this, and I'm gonna, my intonation and my modulation and my pitch and everything is going to be an embodiment of this person, because that is what is publicly accepted and enjoyed. Then I auditioned for YoTV, and the late great Akumzi Jezile chased me down. I will say that it was a private call. Obviously you guys know, I've mentioned it before, there's the open call, and then there's the private call, the closed call, which is the people with agents, and my agent had sent me through to YoTV, and I'd auditioned, audition number 1, callback, and it was the 23rd of April, I had my very first live show. And you know, the rest, as they say, is history, but I'm so grateful that Akumzi was so set on my win, was so convinced about me, even in the midst of me doubting myself as much as I did. So very few words can describe the size of the gaping hole your exit has left in the South African entertainment industry and essentially our lives. The heart, the soul, the mind, the smile and the laughter of YoTV, fan base, Tempe Pushers, Urban Brew, SABC has left the building. And it's funny because Tato and I would always refer to you as the man upstairs. And I guess we find comfort in knowing that you're controlling everything from a very different room, a different control room, a very different upstairs. So with that said, I thank you so much for the endless opportunities and allowing me and all of us to grow from strength to strength, in always sharing your light, and your love will always be missed, your gift and your heart. Lala Mokolo, Akumzi, Kajezile. My growth has been very authentic. I've been also transparent. It's a blessing to live in a time of social media where people can see the journey unfold. And it's a credible journey. At no point can anyone look at where I've come from and say, it was all pretty privileged. Yes, we know that. But it was also diligence and faith and being present and being respectful, respecting the people around you. So I'm so grateful that I've shown up in the way that I have in every opportunity. And that's also, guys, that's another tip. That's also what gets you work again. When you respect the people that you're in and you respect the craft of what you do, they know they can trust you with the next opportunity, and you're top of mind because they enjoyed working with you, so they want to keep you with the same vision. Live TV has been one of the most generous teachers for me. It asks and begs of you to be present. And that's one of the biggest riches that I've ever experienced, primarily because it's filtered into my other spaces of work. So I, again, as I mentioned before, I come from a theater space and a theater history where being present is the first command of storytelling in that realm and in that space and for that discipline. And I'm grateful that, you know, the presence that I'd learned from there had carried itself onto live TV, but it is not easy. Guys, you're talking, you're having a conversation with the host, with your co-host, you're having a conversation with the guest, then the director is speaking in your ear the entire time. And our comms were open the entire time. So if they're laughing upstairs, if they're speaking about what the guest is wearing, if they're laughing about a fumble that you had, if you have a 3-second countdown to ad break and you have to wrap that link up, just like that, everything is happening simultaneously. And that's why one of the key things that I speak about when I say the strength of a presenter is being present, but also being able to listen. And I'm going to speak about in the next episode where I'm drawing up and I'm listing some tips, quips, and techniques of being a great presenter, difference between a good presenter and a great presenter. And one thing I want to mention now is also one of the really great lessons that Akumzi had taught me then. Very first episode, very first day being introduced into YoTV and my induction, he said something that has stuck with me since. And he mentioned that anyone with the right skill, with the right talent, with the right training can present. But no one can be you. No one can emulate you, no one can be as authentic as you, no one can be as present as you, as bubbly as you, as quirky as you, as no one can do it. And that's why presenter needs to be present, but they need to have a personality. And that is why, and I said it before, authenticity will always win. Because my personality has always won for me. And I really encourage so many of you, whether you are a TikToker, a YouTuber, a presenter, an actor, maybe not so much as an actor because it requires you to be someone else, but whatever it is, whatever realm of creativity that you're in, it is imperative that you step forward as your most honest self, because your personality is the recipe. It is that secret ingredient. You know, we talk about that it thing, that it factor, that X factor. That X factor is you, authentically you, truly you, honestly you. And YoTV allowed me to unearth that. It allowed the parts of me that had been so insecure, walking around with one hand tied behind my back because I felt like I was too much of this, too much of that, not enough of all of it. And I felt like I was, again, from previous auditions that, you know, I may have fumbled and things that I may have not gotten right, that, this may not work. But it always worked was me being me, honestly me, authentically me. So many tasks, so many challenges. YoTV, I can't think of a time when I didn't love what I did. And I fell in love with a new craft. I fell in love with a new discipline. I fell in love with a new world. And I love it. I loved it. I would do it again. Maybe not as a 28-year-old though, but I would certainly do it again. Today's just been a really emotional day. I remember having a conversation with amazing makeup artist Vanessa Makole, and I said, I don't know what God is trying to tell me about the gift of presenting and what it's been able to do in the lives of other people. I don't know. I don't know what God's plan is, but the fact that I'm hosting this expo in collaboration with another incredible budding host. I received a voice note from Tabs, someone I've known, appreciated and respected, a young upcoming presenter as well. There were so many things presenter related. Dire, who's holding the camera right now, sent a very emotional video. It's just, I don't know what God's plan is and what presenting is as a mechanism to transform the lives of young people and to give them a voice and to amplify the voices that are already established. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I'm at a complete loss for words. I'm humbled by the gift that's been entrusted. Because I'm not just a communicator. I'm not just an orator. I don't just speak. I don't just present. I don't just communicate. I minister through the art of presenting. And I teach, and I transform lives, and I impact young people through this art. So, it's a beautiful time. I will get into far more detail in the next episode where I speak about the tools, where I share the strengths, weaknesses, room for improvement, where our industry is moving, where it's headed. I don't really have the answers on how to become a TV presenter, but I definitely have the answers on how you can make sure that you're ready when the opportunity does arise. But it's been a beautiful journey. And I can't wait to continue to produce more work, to have so many more presenters pass through my hands as a teacher, and to share more with you guys. It's been a great 7 years of being a host, a TV host, and a radio host, and soon to be a world critically acclaimed host, a global sensational host. I know that's right. But we keep it here for now. For now, we share. We keep it homegrown, home-loved, homely, authentic, African, black, young, gifted, anointed. It's been the 5-minute call. I think it's time for us to wrap up the episode. It is. From me, Dumelo Candice Mudisele, that is my intro to the world of presenting, reflections on my experience, and you can look forward to the next one to answer all the questions that you guys have for me on how do I become a better presenter and how do I make sure that when the opportunity comes knocking, that I open the door and I stay ready. Consider yourself absolutely blessed. I don't know, man. I think it speaks to the 20s or just a life thing really, that there comes a point where you start to feel overwhelmed and underwhelmed at the same time. Overwhelmed by the work you're putting in and underwhelmed by its results. But it's beautiful because now I'm starting to see the fruits of my labor, and it's not in retweets, likes, recognition, and hype. It's never been important to me, but to understand and to feel God's grace, which is abundant and ever so sufficient and omnipresent. And it reminds me of something Pastor Sarah Jakes Robertson, that she said. She said that you will never know that you're a wild woman until you've been in the wilderness. Which also echoes the sentiment that you will never know your light until you've been in the dark, your strength until you felt weak, your gain until you know loss, life until you see death. I'm starting to see it all, and I'm so grateful. And they say that if you put everything in God's hand, you start to see his hand in everything.